What's happening?
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Christo.
and your coach, Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And folks, today we're out in these entrepreneurial streets, and we're going to be providing you an amazing show today. We're honoring and we're featuring Black history, which is business history, guys. That's what we're doing here today. So, my co-host, how you doing today?
It has been a week. A week. I'm
You
exhausted.
need a vacation now, right?
Yeah, I do, but it's too far away for a vacation. I just have to grin and bear it. But at least Monday's a holiday. I don't have to deal with
vacation, right?
Huh?
You can do a staycation.
No, not right now. I can't. But Monday is a holiday, so no people, no counseling, no coaching, no nothing, just me.
I hear you.
I do stuff with me, so sometimes I need that. But yeah, no, yesterday was pretty intense.
Talk to me.
It was this whole week actually has been a pretty intense week, but it is done. How about yours?
Oh man, we completed the last class in our next level contract readiness mentorship program. It was an amazing class, and we had an amazing instructor who taught the class on QuickBooks and finance and all of that good stuff, how to straighten out your business financially. And we also heard that she's a coach, a business coach, who's been in the industry for over 30 years.
Right.
I think her name is Coach Crystal Mitchell.
Oh, really? I hear she was pretty good.
So she was so wonderful that they wanted her back. They said, can we have her the next day? So they loved her, man. They love you, co-host.
Oh, well, that's good. I appreciate them, appreciate the opportunity. So thank you very much. Yeah. I had this was my week for teaching, and it's been, that was actually both were the very beginning of teaching for me this year. I hadn't had any course classes this year so far. Just coaching. That's all I've been doing since the start of the month of the year. So it was good. I like teaching.
Right. Well, you did a great job. They loved you. This is what they told me. A few of them told me that. They said, she breaks it down so easy. She makes financing so simple that we want to listen, we want to pay attention, and we want to do it in our business. She said, there are other programs out there that they teach you all this financial literacy stuff, and it's just like foreign, and we don't want to hear it. We don't care about it. We can't wait for it to be over. But the way Coach Crystal did it, man, she kind of get inside of us and understand what we're thinking, what we're feeling, and the information she puts out there make it so easy to understand. So that's the feedback I got there on you, co-host.
All righty. Well, that was some good feedback. Tell them I appreciate that and thank you very much. I try to make it digestible.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh so, man, I just went live.
So they love.
So Gilbert, I may pop off for a minute. They're gonna cut the power over on my side.
Okay.
Okay, so if I pop off, then you're gonna have to carry on.
Not a problem, man. I could just go in and speak about the upcoming mentorship program.
Yes, but it hasn't happened yet. You'll know when I'm not here. When you don't see me, then you'll know I'm gone.
When you disappear, huh?
Yeah, when I disappear. So, but yeah, it was refreshing, and I'm glad they received it that way. That's the one way people can actually feel connected to their numbers. I
They
try to make them connected to their numbers.
They said you reminded them of what they need to do, what they're not doing, and what they need to do to get their business up in order and be relevant.
Well, good. Then I did what I was supposed to do because
Yes, yes.
unfortunately, sometimes our people think that it's you know, all people think that numbers are or the financial part is an addendum, not
Yeah.
not the not the whole shebang, but an addendum.
Yes, 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 yes,
So they have
yes.
to know that it is not that. So,
Mm-mm-mm.
so
But
I'm
yes,
glad.
man, they were loving what you were putting down, you know?
So are they excited about the graduation?
Oh yeah, they're all excited. They can't wait. I have two of the proteges in the mentorship program who've been helping me tremendously, and I must say shout out to Izette Smith and Pat Langford. They were just amazing, and they have been amazing, helping me with the banners, the certificates, the RSVPs, the capability statements that we're gonna put in some swag bags. You know, they're putting the swag bags together. Everything, man. They've just been so phenomenal. I couldn't have asked for anything more, man. They've just been right on point. I got to give them their flowers, you know. And the thing about it is they're humble. They don't talk about what they're doing. So people don't even know that they're doing that. They're behind the scenes. So I just want to recognize them today. I hope they're tuning into the show and watching it today. But Pat, if you're there, Pat Langford and Izette Smith, I appreciate love you guys a lot. And thank you for helping me with this mentorship program and the graduation ceremony that we're going to have on February 23rd. We're going to have it at BMO Bank, and this is going to be in Monterey Park. So thank you guys. Thank you. This is an amazing thing. So I want to welcome you guys all to the Business Zone, which is the number one podcast in Southern California for small and micro businesses. And what we do is we provide resources, information, advice, guidance, and some level of coaching to entrepreneurs who are trying to either start up their business, grow their business from a 3 year and beyond standpoint, or if you want to get next level, where you're at the point where you can go after government contracts, prepare yourself for government contracts, and also win those government contracts. And one of my protege is Zette, who's been in the program. You know, she's been doing great. I see her logging in here right now. Hey, much respect to you, Izette. Welcome to the show. Izette's been doing great in this program, and I see where there's many opportunities that she's going after, but a lot of that she said has been attributed to the fact that she's learned a lot in this mentorship program, how to bid, how to go after these contracts, how to prepare herself to be contract ready, and it's just amazing. So as a small business, guys, you too can benefit from this program, this mentorship, next level mentorship program that we're providing. And again, the next level, the next series will be starting on April 21st. That's a Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. That's a Tuesday, and that will be second cohort will be occurring. It's going to be for 12 weeks, and we have quite a bit of courses that I want to point out to you guys. So some of the courses that you will be privy to will be how to conduct business readiness assessments on your business to make sure that your business is actually ready. It measures the capability of your small business, your small or micro business, to make sure that you've got all the documents you need to run and function in your business. One of the other classes that we teach in this is conducting contract readiness assessment. We have an assessment tool that's proprietary to us. No other entity out there has a system like this. And what it does, it helps you, and the tool is called Small Biz Pro. It helps you to make sure that your business is contract ready. It analyzes your business for readiness. Are you ready for contracts? Are you ready for government contracts? Do you know what documents you need to have in order to become ready? So all of those things we go over with you, and we provide you tools and resources. We hold your hands so you are properly guided to be successful. The third class will be conducting bank loan readiness assessment. So we put you through, again, the same tool, Small Biz Pro, which is a tool that analyzes your back office to see what documents you have in place to ensure that you are bank loan ready. We go over certain ratios with you, make sure your current ratio, your cash ratio, your quick ratio, your debt to equity ratio, and all of those ratios are in place. They meet the minimum requirement and best practices in order to make sure that you are actually ready for a loan or a line of credit. And we partner with BMO Bank, BMO Bank. That's our partner, our strategic partner. And they are willing to provide lines of credit to these small businesses once they graduate the program. So BMO, thanks to you for believing in our program and helping our small businesses after we've gotten them ready in this mentorship program and put them out there so that you can see the value in them and see that they know how to run and manage your business. We also have a class called How to Efficiently Set Up and Manage Your Back Office. And that's where we go in using the tool Small Biz Pro to check out all of the documents that you should have to run your business efficiently and operate in compliance with government contracts and government regulations. Now, all of these things you should have in place on a daily basis so that back office makes sure those documents are in place. And if you need to access them, you can access them in 6 seconds or less. 6 seconds or less, guys, using your smartphone. So that's what we do here. Developing a winning capability statement, that's another part of what you will learn in this mentorship program. Developing a winning capability statement. So we'll go over the different conditions, the different protocols, what should be in a capability statement, what contract providers look for, and what banks look for as well. Certifications, we go over a variety of different certifications with you. If you conduct business in LA County or surrounding counties, there are 24 different certifications that you could have access to in order to bid on contracts, in order to bid on opportunities. 24 different certifications. You don't need all 24, but you have a pool of 24 to choose from. So if you want to do business with LA Metro, there are certain certifications they want. You want to do business with the state of California, Department of General Services, there's a certain certification that they're looking for. Want to do business with the County of Los Angeles, certain certifications in that pool that you can look forward to. If you want to do business through the Supplier Clearinghouse, they've got their types of certification as well. So we go over all of those certifications with you guys, show you how to do it. We also help you fill out your application provide you resource and information so you guys can apply and obtain your certifications. And I'm happy to announce that about 5 of our small businesses have utilized that information. They've applied for their certifications and they've been awarded their certifications. So I just want to let you guys know this mentorship program is really doing things for small businesses, guys. This has been amazing, man. We got one of our proteges on here. Izette, she just got her certification with the Supply Clearinghouse. She also got her SBA woman-owned certification. Not too many people are able to do that, especially on their own. They have to hire these consultants that do it for them, and they don't know squat about your business, and they put the wrong information in. But you doing it yourself, it makes it more organic and more legitimate. So Izette was able to do hers. Pat Langford, she also got her certification too. So it's just amazing, guy. It's just a big old family over here. When you got you got specialists like Coach Crystal Mitchell helping you with the financing, the accounting, and then you have me on the other side helping you with your back office, contract readiness, contracts, government contracts, compliance, and all of those good stuff. So I'm not going to go through this whole list of curriculum right now, guys, because my co-host is back. She's got her internet all set up. So, co-host, are you ready to roll?
I am. Yeah, but all of that is great. It's I had so many coaching sessions this month or this week.
Yeah.
And each one of them, it's more than just business. Coaching is more than just talking to you about business, because in our world, in our lives, everything affects us, right? If we can't function because some other affecting our world, it's hard to stay focused on your business. So coaching is about all aspects, right? I don't just limit it to this conversation, about your widgets. If some other things are in place, and I leave it open for my clients, just anything that's on your mind, you want to talk about it. And because they're not going to be able to talk about anything else at all, right? So I had a young someone I was coaching yesterday afternoon, and she says, "I really don't have anything business to talk about, but I did have she had an interesting conversation with someone that volunteers to run a component of her business, and they were she just wanted to feedback, right, to make sure that what she was hearing is what she was hearing, and it wasn't her. And so and in the conversation we're having, he was telling her what he was going to do with her business, in her business. I'm like, wait, is this your business? so that person was a little confused.
Yeah.
And so
see, that's what I'm saying, co-host. It's amazing when our small businesses know and understand their business, because then it's difficult for someone from the outside to come in and say, "Hey, this is what you should do with your business." It's like, come on.
Right, exactly, and that's nothing to do with, right? That has everything could be affecting it, and that's the issue, right? Making sure that everything is in place, and sometimes you do just need to have someone you can trust to have a conversation with that has been holding you back. So coaching is a good thing for everyone. Yeah. So yes, I am ready. So we're going to talk about Black history today. We are what 3 days? Well, it's the 13th, Friday the 13th, and I've had a Friday the 13th day since this morning early. But so we're 13 days into our very short month of Black History Month, and so we want to do our part for the month. I love Black History Month, even though I'm Black 365 days a year.
You're
But
blackity black 365.
right, but this month, you can really, highlight and elevate those people out there that our ancestors are just, that we're descendants of. All of the amazing Black excellence that they brought to us before we actually got here,
Yeah,
and now it's our turn. So, Black, my shirt says. Black history, live it, learn it, make it 365 days a year.
I
And so
love it.
now it's our turn to make
I
Black
love it,
history.
Paul. I love it.
But we always have to look at our history in order to what happened before us so that we have a barometer on the greatness that we need to bring as well. Hey, Pat. So that's what I'm thinking. So, but before we do that, we want to do our little station break, Gilbert.
Yeah.
Tell everybody where to go over to our. Right now, we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and on YouTube. We'd love for you to go over there and hit our subscribe button so that you can join the family. And every time we broadcast, you will get a notification earlier in the day so that you can tune in. We all have some amazing conversations. Gilbert and I have been doing what we do for a number of years, 30 plus for pretty much both of us. And
Hmm.
we're very generous with sharing our knowledge. It's just how we're wired. And so go over to you can hit the QR code, go over to our YouTube channel, The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, and hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing, but you get so much value from coming and visiting us on a weekly basis.
And also, co-host, what I want some of these entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs to do is to, if they have any questions about business at all, reach out to us either by email or phone. We'll be happy to help.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. All righty, let's get to going over here. I was trying to pull up my images, but I'll get them as we speak because for whatever reason I can't find them right now. Uh, all righty, so today our show is about Black history is business history. Black history is also American history, and so and today what we want is Black history is not just a culture that we as Black people observe. It's a strategy, it's the economics, and it's the resilience of a group of people who were stolen from their land in Africa and brought here, and they had to adapt to over 250 years of slavery, working for free. But in that, there's always a silver lining, even in the horrible stuff. In that, they became very what do you call them, innovators, because
Yeah.
they were doing all the hard work, and most of the brilliance that they brought to us was brought as a result of all of that hard work that they had to do. So they had to come up with inventions that would make their day to day life easier. So Black History Month is often taught as a struggle alone, but I do also want everyone to know that we didn't come into existence when they put us on those slave ships. We were in existence uh,
Prior
probably
to
about
that.
500 BC in Africa, doing amazing, great things as well. But they brought us here. And so today we're going to talk about strategy, we're going to talk about ownership, we're going to talk about innovation, and we're going to talk about our power that we possess because of that. So, and also, if we go back and look in history, which is why history exists, right? It teaches entrepreneurs that no matter what challenges you have, you can always overcome those challenges because our ancestors have. So, Black history isn't separate from American business history. It is the American business history. And so today we're going to talk about some incredible individuals um, in our past that have done great things. In fact, today there are many things in America that would not be functioning if they hadn't done what they did. So, in this very powerful episode, we're going to examine our innovation and our resilience and our economic ingenuity that helped build this country and build the industries in this country, from agriculture, transportation, beauty, technology, finance, and media. So this is not just a historical reflection. And I want our young people to know that yes, we do have to keep talking about this. We do, because when you operate today, there are factions in this country that want us to think that our sole existence started when we start picking cotton in the South, and that is not it at all. What this is, and what we is a master class in entrepreneurship, and so we're going to explore those founding our founding fathers, and we're also going to explore some of the modern ones that are here today. And if you guys have anything to contribute to that, please put it in the chat and share with us so that we can share what you have as well. And so we have some incredible Black executives out there, emerging leaders that we can learn from. And then we have our visionary pioneers who built an enterprise under extreme systematic barriers for over 400 years, actually. And they're still creating generational impact. So that's where we're going today. So I hope you guys enjoy it and love it. And Gilbert, let's rock.
A co-host, I want to throw this out there real quickly. Now, we know since the beginning of time the reason why we enter into entrepreneurship, why we enter into business. It's simply because there were barriers presented to us that will prevent us from doing certain things. That was simple. These are things that we were supposed to do, but we had to really try to overcome those barriers and make things work for us. Now, I can liken this, and I know some people listening to this show right now might say, but single mothers, there's a lot of women who are single mothers. And I'm not talking about the ones where the politics is certain things. I'm talking about the fact that they happen to become single mothers because the system, them in a situation where they are. You and I know, Crystal, because based on what we talked about in the past, your mom, my mom, they were able to generate things out of nothing, no resources, but they're able to put things together. And those things are traits of entrepreneurship. When you can create something out of nothing, and that's very common with many single moms. They don't have ways and means to provide for the kids, but they make it happen. To same thing with entrepreneurship. And that's why what we're pushing today, we're saying, hey, Black history is business history, because we never had access to target markets. We never had access to funding resources. We never had access to a lot of things. As we continue in this show, we're going to talk about, Greenwood and Black Wall Street and how that came into being. Even though we never had much, we made it happen. We had a self-sufficient economy that was thriving. We have multiple millionaires that were created out of those systems. So that's kind of what I want the summary of this whole thing to be about, right? So with that being said, let me go to the beginning of what Black history and business history, how they come together and how things are done. So, we know that the framework of this economic structure and system that's built is based on economic intelligence that's generated from Black ingenuity and innovation. A lot of the things that we use today is created from Black innovation because of restrictions, barriers, exclusion, and all of those things. So all of those things develop that cultural achievement and assessment that we have accumulated over the years. Because of these types of things and these types of qualities, we find that Black entrepreneurs are attracted to some of those innovative things. And they were able to create executives, educators, institutional leaders because of those things. The determination, the resilience, the perseverance those are qualities that they develop over the year. And we try to teach that in our classes today, our co-hosts. We try to teach that with our entrepreneurs, help them to develop resilience, a determination. Don't feel defeated because you are excluded from banks providing you lines of credit, or because they won't allow you access to government contracts or anything like that. There are always ways around it, always ways around it. And some of the ways that we've talked about on this show is to do business abroad with other countries, other like-minded countries who are looking for our services and our products. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. So with Black history being business history, what we do is we look for discoverability, things that we can discover, and then we prep it up, we foster it, and we make it better and present it to our target communities and show how we can help them to use those services and products to make their lives easier. That's what this is all about. I want entrepreneurs today, the young ones, the ones in their teens that you teach, co-hosts, and the older ones, the adult ones that we both teach. I want them to see those types of things as things that can encourage them, spur them on, and make them do the right thing. So reinforce credibility, legacy, and long-term brand equity is another result of those types of things that come from overcoming barriers, overcoming obstacles, and those types of things in our way. So I'm going to hand the floor back over to you, co-host, so you can speak to the other aspect of our presentation.
All righty. I think we're going to have to go mute, one stay up, because there is still an echo. So and this conversation, and I think Gilbert kind of mentioned it, but this conversation in today's environment of AI disruption, capital shifts, and economic uncertainty that we all are feeling right now, these historical leaders they offer us so many timeless principles that we as entrepreneurs should adapt in our business as well, right? Because when I speak to my young people, Gilbert, when I talk about entrepreneurship, I talk about choice, right? Entrepreneurship gives you choice. You have control over your own destiny. You can grow without limitations. There is no glass ceiling for you, especially for women, in your own business. But we have to run our businesses so that we have control. So it's ownership over dependency, innovation under pressure. I mean, you can just, one of the things that was a problem for me when I worked in corporate America was I always felt like they was trying to squish me into a box. And my personality doesn't lend itself to being squished into a box. And so, and I had that entrepreneurial spirit. So I always clashed with my supervisors and so forth. The other thing it gives you is a strategic community building, right? Because you're building, if we're recycling our dollars and building power amongst our people that look like us in the communities that we live in the communities that our children live in and are growing up in, that strategic choice allows you to go to a school and say, I'm not happy with what you're doing with my children, right? It gives you choice, it gives you opportunity, and it gives you power. And then wealth becomes a tool. Because as we can see in today's world, it's all about who got money, right? Not who's scraping for money, not who is begging for money, but those that are gone out and legitimately made money, and then they turn around and they help their community. And then, of course, as an entrepreneur, leadership. So these are the things that we can navigate and use here right today in 2026 as our strategic power, that is not just inspirational and not a feel good that we had our ancestors did X, Y, and Z, but what we should be doing is looking at how we learn from this, right? How do we bring this into our world today? How do we pass this on to our young people? To me, that is generational wealth. Being able to pass what your grandparents and their parents and grandparents, and they pass it down generation to generation to generation, and you're able to create this an amazing environment and ecosystem for you and your family. And so that's important. So this episode is for everyone that is an entrepreneur, everyone that has an entrepreneur mindset, everyone that has been a founder of some amazing business. It's for business leaders and executives. It's for those economic development professionals and students of history and innovation. And of course, investors focused on an inclusive growth. So we want to make sure you understand that from here on today, we are going to embrace our culture as the inspiration and the drive and the power to move us into a place where we are equal to everybody else. And that's what our ancestors did. And so you have to understand, um, it takes a mindset shift for us, because sometimes we get lost in the murk. And because we get lost in that murk, then it takes us off path. And then we start feeling like maybe we're not anything more than a visitor, right? So that's what I'm thinking. So you want to go ahead with segment one, Gilbert? I'll take myself and mute me. I know.
I love this co-host. You know me. I love history. I love innovation. I love all of this stuff. So I'm going to deviate a little bit, because I want to show something here that a lot of people don't know about. People talk about this all the time. They hear it and they just breeze by it. I want folks, everyone who is listening, let me look into the camera. Everyone who is listening to this show, The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. We're on every Friday from 3 to 4:30. We're here to help small and micro businesses become business ready, contract ready, bank loan ready, and even if you're forming a nonprofit, we help you to become nonprofit ready as well. We have the resources. We got over 30 years of experience in the industry. We've got experience with accounting, nonprofits. We have experience with government agencies like LA Metro, LAUSD. We're experience with LA Community College District and a lot of other major contract providers. And because of all of these access that we also have experience in partnerships with banks. That's a new addition to our program right now. And that's why we're becoming so much more successful, because when we prepare small businesses, they're going to need funding. So we turn them on to our banking partners who can provide lines of credit to these small businesses. So we're talking on this show today, not just to talk, guys. It's to let you know a lot of what we believe in, a lot of what we've seen, a lot of what we've been a part of, and how they've turned out to be successful because of our resilience, our dedication, and the education that we provide. So I just want to put that out there so all of you guys know that, okay? Well, here's something that I want to share, and I don't think too many people know about this. There was a gentleman by the name of Granville Taylor Woods. Granville Taylor Woods. Okay? This gentleman was 7 feet tall. The dude was as tall as Shaq. Okay? Not too many people know of this guy, ever heard of him, know that he was so statuesque. Okay? Granville Taylor Woods. Here's what this guy does. This guy is an American inventor, a Black American inventor. Okay? And what he did, he had over 50 different patents, 50 patents, okay, in the United States. He was one of the first African American mechanical and electrical engineers. What did I say? The first African American mechanical and electrical engineers. And this was after the Civil War, right? He is self-taught. They didn't teach him anything, wouldn't let him into schools, wouldn't let him into libraries. So he had to learn himself. He had to figure it out. You know, that's how amazing the African American mind is, okay? This man taught himself mechanical engineering and electrical engineering. And most of his work was concentrated on trains and streetcars. That's the transportation aspect of what he did. Trains, streetcars. So you figure if he was still around today, he would be a big part of LA Metro and the city buses that you drive in. He would be a big part of that because that's his specialty. That was his area. He had 50 patents. And here is what he did. You guys will never know this because you hear the other side. So on the Business Zone, we're bringing you the right side today. All right. Electronics, chemistry, and physics. He had patents in those things. He patented the transmission of telegraph systems. Okay. That's electric railways. And this is what you call the third rail on the railroad tracks. So you heard of two rails. So the third one, that's the third rail. He was responsible for the design of that. He patented that. Okay. And also, this is the part that I really want to put out there. And I think I'm hoping we can clip this over and over so people know the truth about this man's work and this man's ability. So what this man did, he won a court case against Edison, Thomas Edison, the one who they claim invented the light bulb. Edison did not invent the light bulb. This gentleman did. But they stole his work and his patent because back in those times, a Black person wasn't allowed to patent any work, any invention, any innovation. They weren't allowed to. So Thomas Edison and his crew stole Mr. Granville Taylor Woods' information, and they went to go patent. But what they didn't understand is the key component of making those light bulbs work has to come from him because they didn't know how to do it. So even though they claimed they had a patent to that, they were still using lamps. So he went out and he provided the devices and all the tools to make the light bulbs work the right way. He's the official patent recipient of the light bulb. He won that court case, just so you know, against Thomas Edison. So I wanted to put that out there, Coles. I just couldn't hold it back anymore. This gentleman, he was born in 1856, I'm sorry, 1856, April 1856. And like I say, the man was 7 feet tall. So he was a he was a figure in the community. And he was able to overcome a lot of barriers, a lot of obstacles, and forge black business into the forefront of business history to let people know that even though we were barred from doing certain things, there are barriers and there were also obstacles. We were able to overcome those. Just think about that for a second. You not being able to give an access to something, you're blocked from education, you can't go to libraries, you can't do anything like that, but you were still able to teach yourself how to do those things. Now, let me ask this question. If there's somebody with that kind of skill and ability versus someone who is trained by somebody else, who do you think has more credibility in terms of the knowledge base, the expertise, and the ability to really make something functional and be top of class? Mr. Granville Woods. So I just want to put that information out there, guys, to let you know. So, so Coles, I can switch back over to you, or I can continue. So you let me know.
I'm gonna add to this. So the other thing, so you mentioned the train that he had with the railroad with the tracks, right? Well, one of the things about the right after the emancipation, so in 1867, George Pullman um, was he was the operator of the trains and the Pullman porters. So he was a former slave, and what he did was he started this business for service luxury sleeping cars. And so the largest employer of black men in the 20th century became the backbone of the middle class. So despite the low pay, severe racism, but these individuals formed the first black union, the Brotherhood of Sleeping Porters, in 1925, and they played a pivotal role in the civil rights movement. And I believe, yeah, last year in 2025 was the anniversary of the Pullman Porters. It was 100 years for since they had started. So that was last year in 2025. So it's a big history. A lot of individuals, grandparents, great grandparents actually were Pullman porters. That was kind of a middle class position, and because they wore the really the nice suits and a hat and so forth. So on one of my Facebook pages, I want to say it is recycling, but no, it's the community briefings Facebook page. I actually have a picture there of all of the Pullman porters celebrating the 100 years in existence.
That is amazing, co-host. That is amazing right there. This just excites me so much, man, because these are things that they've hidden from us. They excluded it from our history because they want to take the credit for whatever reason. There's people out there, co-hosts, that they love to take credit for stuff, but they don't know how it works. You know how you have a system that works very well and they're claiming it. Okay, you go ahead and claim it, but they don't know how it works. So they got to come back to the original source to ask them how that works. That's what's been going on with our history. Yeah, go ahead.
The thing is, Gilbert, is our ancestors didn't ask for permission. They built ecosystems because they saw a need and they solved a problem.
That is so true. That is so true. And we kind of see glimpse of this in 2020 when they had COVID too. We saw that. But folks didn't really take it seriously because remember when you had to spend all this money trying to buy gloves and masks and all of that? People were innovative in their creation of gloves and substitute for gloves and masks and all those things. They made it work. And that's how we did back in the day. You know, we didn't have access to what they had on the marketplace, but we created our own, just like the gas mask, right? We created our own. So that's what I'm talking about, man. Yeah. Do you want to talk about Madam CJ Walker, co-host?
I can. So let me pull up a picture of Miss when she's actually over here. So Madam C.J. Walker, and actually she wasn't the first in this space, but she did become a multimillionaire, and she did that doing something that Black women and Black people have been connected to all of their lives, and that is beauty. And so for Madam C.J. Walker, she built one of the first large scale, nationally distributed beauty brands in the United States. Actually, it wasn't her the first because there's Annie Malone was actually the first. That's how Madam CJ Walker actually found out about the product. She just enhanced the product. And I want to say this, you know, a lot of times when we're talking to young people about business or business people, period, about starting businesses, um, you know, competition is the breath, the life and the breath of business, right? So just because there's an existing product out there does not mean that you can't create a product or enhance a product that's already there, especially if it solves a problem, because that is, in my opinion, the magic sauce of a successful business is identifying a problem and then creating the solution for that problem that works for masses of people. And so she was one of those. She was a self made millionaire, and she actually had encountered or met Annie Malone because uh, she worked for a really violent type of employer, and she was always nervous, and she lost her hair, and so she ran into Annie Malone at a like a street bazaar, and she bought her salve, and the salve started to grow her hair back in. And so she was then she was working for Annie Malone, but however, she wanted to elevate in the company, and unfortunately, Annie tend her employees, or the ladies that kind of like a Mary Kay. This was probably very first Mary Kay, because she had distributors, and they would go door to door selling the salve to those individuals that needed it, the Black women that needed it, and usually they wore their hair all covered up because you know they didn't have the luxury of doing their hair daily anyway. And so but Annie had a specific type of employee that she liked on the face of her product, and Madam C.J. Walker didn't fit that look, and so she told her no, she couldn't. She couldn't be a distributor, and so therefore she took it upon herself. She did kind of steal the product, but she went and enhanced the product because history is history. You got to tell them the good side and the bad side, and so she enhanced the product, and then she started to distribute the product as well. Her sales network models laid out the foundation for the modern direct to consumer distribution. But again, as I said, there are two pioneer women that were in that space. Annie Malone was the first one. She was actually a chemist, and so that's how she came up with the salve. And she was very good, which I think she inherited Annie from her grandmother of using herbs and creating products from the herbs. So a lot of us do that today, right? I use rosemary on my hair all the time, and because it helps grow your hair. And so they both of these women, in my opinion, really were revolutionary pioneers. Annie today, that she had a school. And it was one of the largest schools in Philadelphia, and then Madam C.J. Walker actually resided in Atlanta, Georgia, and so she had a mansion. I believe she spent, yeah, a large, I think about $20,000-$30,000 on her daughter's wedding, which was back there in the 50s. So that's saying something, right? But one of the lessons that we learn from this is that the distribution strategy, right, which is a way to scale your business, right? Because now, not employees necessarily, they're making commissions, so but they're expanding your reach. So that's Avon, that's Mary Kay, that's a number of brands. The Fuller Brush company, which was around during that time. This was the distribution strategy. Brand trust, so building a brand that people could trust, and what does that equal? Scalable wealth creation. That's what that equals. And so this is what we attribute to Madam CJ Walker. And I always have to give tribute to Annie Malone, because she was really the pioneer that started it. She created the very first salve. So that's what we have to say.
And see, that is so good. That is so good that you mentioned both sides of that, co-host, because you talked about how it began, and in life, that's how things usually are. One person bring a product or a service or a concept to the marketplace, and then somebody else takes it and just globalize it. And that's what happened between these two ladies. These two American, amazing ladies, right? Annie Malone, she brought the concept first. Then Madam C.J. Walker, she took it, she globalized it. She became the first black, well, not the first black, the first female millionaire. The first female millionaire. I want to put that out there, guys. The first female millionaire. Okay? So that's what was going on. So now, enslaved Africans, they brought a lot of advanced agricultural, engineering, and financial knowledge to the marketplace after slavery. And a lot of things that they were able to do in order to start galvanizing their entrepreneurship efforts is trades. They did trades. They got marketplace put together. Just like you guys see those swap meets that they have right now. That's how this entrepreneurship and mercantile system got started. They had their little swap meets where they meet every like twice a week, especially on the weekends. And people were trading what they have for something else. So if I have 500 goats, I will trade some of my goats for maybe some rice or maybe a bed or something like that. So that's how that got started, until people start going around finding and developing bigger communities. So they say, oh, well, let's try to sell on a more global level. And then that's how money start coming into communities. People start purchasing land. Now they have in land ownership. There are certain mutual aid in certain societies start developing. So let's say we're using these cities around us, like Los Angeles, Inglewood, Pasadena, all those different areas. That's how those areas start developing, and people start saying, hey, I have a need for this type of thing. Do you guys have any of that? And that's how the trading started and started expanding. Then from that, they realized, hey, we need a source to store our funds that we're generating, because these guys would come and raid our property, steal our money, and all of that. So they decided to open their own banks, and that's how they were able to form their own banks there post slavery. They even formed their own insurance company so they could cover the damages and the theft caused by the other side, to their products, their produce, and their properties. So that's how the blacks were able to develop, start their own banks, insurance companies. People were dying during that time because they weren't exposed to certain medical treatment and facilities. So people died, they needed to be buried, and then the insurance companies would step in and said, okay, here's what we're going to do for you to help with these funeral costs and all that. So people had to purchase insurance policies or subscribe to it even. And that's how it went. Now, with that being said, they needed to spread the word to let people know about it. So what happened? They formed their own newspaper companies. So they started their own newspaper companies, start selling newspaper. Hey, 15 cents a copy. And, and before you know it, people were getting news. People were knowing what's going on, which communities were being raided by the other side. And that's exactly what happened. Now, during that time, there was a gentleman by the name of Garrett Morgan. Garrett Morgan, guys. Here's another name for you to write down, photocopy it, put it in your phone, and don't ever forget it. Garrett Morgan, okay? In 1822, no, I'm sorry, 1922 is when he filed a patent for the traffic signal, And why do we need a traffic signal, Guy? Well, because in our communities, because they see how well we were thriving, we were doing very well, they were driving through our neighborhoods at full speed. No respect to us, no respect to the community, no respect to the families. They just drive through the communities really crazy, and they would kill a lot of the babies, the kids, the children, because they're not respecting speed limits. So they would drive through. So that's where Mr. Morgan came up with the idea of inventing this traffic signal. So the traffic signal was created to minimize that kind of misconduct from the other side, where they used to disrespect us, drive through, kill our kids, and not pay attention to what's going on because they didn't care. So the traffic signal was developed for that purpose, to control the flow of traffic. Even though the signal was created, they would still disrespect it and do whatever they think they needed to do because that was their right. They were entitled. So somehow during that time, more and more blacks were getting into Congress. They were getting into politics. So they voted for the traffic signal to be installed and to be respected. And anyone who broke the law with regard to the traffic signal, then they'll be arrested and sent to jail or prison, depending on the nature of their violence. So that's how the traffic signal got created, guys. Patent was filed 1922, and it was created by Mr. Garrett Morgan. So write that down. That's history for you. Black history is business history. Those traffic lights and traffic signals generated a lot of money for him, his family, and his community.
Yeah, so this is the thing, again, American history. And so we have to, when we hear individuals saying that they want to go back to a certain time, well, a lot of those certain times include us, because we're the ones that created the convenience, created the safety, created solutions to problems that were presented to everyone. So we didn't just create it for ourselves. We created for everyone. So every time you drive down a street in any city, you have a stoplight. Now I'm gonna tell you something. How valuable a stoplight is. When I was in Egypt, in Cairo, there are no stoplights, and I never seen anything like it. So imagine driving in Los Angeles or wherever big city you live in, and there are no stoplights, and cars are coming like this and bumping horns and all that sort of stuff. Amazing enough, I did not see any accidents. They're just very, very good drivers. Now, you as the passenger, your heart is in your mouth because you know the next time, the next inch that car takes, somebody's gonna slam into you either from the back, the front. They come at you like this, they come at like that. The stoplight was an amazing invention. You come back home and you go, thank God for the stoplight. So thank God for Garrett Morris Morgan, because it was it's huge when you go somewhere else. And that I believe that what's the name is the exact same way. Now this one coming up is incredibly near and dear to all of us, and it was Black Wall Street. So all of you know that I am the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, and the one thing I'm always, if anyone knows me and have known me for a long time, is all about the black dollar. And the black dollar today, as a consumer, not as a power broker, but as a consumer, is $2.1 trillion. We did a show earlier in January for celebration of Martin Luther King's birthday, where I did a comparison to 1969 to today, 1920, 2026. And at that time in 69, the black dollar consumption was 50 million dollars. Today it is 20, I mean it's $2 trillion. So in Black Wall Street, and we've heard this so many times, it was in Oklahoma, Greenwood, Oklahoma, and where black people controlled their capital. They controlled the system that they lived under. It wasn't an exception. It was one of many, actually. There was Durham, North Carolina. And to my understanding, Durham, North Carolina is still operational today. Rosewood, Florida. There was a movie out many, many years ago about Rosewood and what happened there. And of course, Chicago, Harlem, and Los Angeles. Los Angeles, California, the downtown area was actually called, it was named after a black former slave. Name was Pico, which is where probably why you get Pico, the street Pico, because the downtown end it was there. So Los Angeles had a huge black middle class. The beach area, Venice Beach, Manhattan Beach, all of the coastal line of Los Angeles was actually where black people lived, because they couldn't grow agriculture. They couldn't have farms on the beach. So the beach belonged to us. Same thing in Chicago. Navy Pier was actually where black people lived until we no longer were an agricultural country, cities, and then they realized, like, hey, that's some valuable land down there on the beach, and so they start buying up down there and moving folks out with redlining and all those things. And of course, the last in any of you that are in Los Angeles, the in Manhattan Beach, the black family that actually owned that land, they ended up selling it. The first it was taken from them and they got it back and then they sold it. But these communities had circulated dollars. There was banks, there were hospitals, media, and but Black Wall Street wasn't destroyed because it failed. It was destroyed because it was working. It was taking care. You had doctors, you had lawyers, you had bankers, you had nurses, you had men that had their own private planes. That was, and they were right there in Oklahoma, and nobody was bothering them until somebody couldn't get a loan in the white bank, and they went to the black bank, and we just too darn gracious sometimes for our own darn good. and they gave him the loan. And when he went bragging where he got the loan from, and they're like, how they got money like that? And then, because if you notice, they don't come into the hood. If you got it in the hood, they ain't coming in there unless you tell them what you got in the hood. So the best place to hide stuff is in the hood. They not coming, but you got to keep your mouth shut. And so the lessons to be learned here is why Black business ownership is still matters, why community economics is powerful, why Greenwood District was one of the most prosperous Black communities in the early 20th century America. It demonstrated the power and of concentrated ownership, capital circulation, that's that dollar coming back in, and institutional independence. And we could provide our own loans. We could provide our own capital. We didn't have to go ask anybody. So the one thing that we know, there is a business model that worked. We just not working it. And so the economic ecosystem outperforms isolation success every single day of the week. And understand, just think about this. If you took the $2 trillion and you took that $2 trillion today, Gilbert, where would that put us if we had that $2 trillion today, right? We would be, we'd be the fourth, we probably would be one of the largest, that 2 trillion is actually one of the largest GDP in the world, not just in this country, but in the world. And so we don't, we need to really rethink, and I should need not to be keep having to say, we need to take our dollars and keep our dollars in our own community. We need to stop saying that, and we need to become more proactive, and we need to be doing that. That's what I say. And so I'm going to share some photos right quickly of Black Wall Street, and we can do this today. We just need not to be telling everybody what we're doing. So this was Black Wall Street right there. As you can see, they had their own parade, marching bands walking down the street, and it was beautiful. Look at that. That's beautiful. It's beautiful. And that's what we need to be doing today. And we don't need to tell anybody, we just need to do it. But look at that. They own cars, they had buses, they had buildings, and we can do that again. Now the devastation of it, once they found out that we had that again, it wasn't because it failed, because it did not fail. It was because it was destroyed, because they could not stand the fact that we were self-sufficient. They want you to be begging so that they can tell you no.
And that is why the entrepreneurial lesson here, co-host, is that fact that economic ecosystems outperform isolated success. We weren't doing isolated success back then. We were galvanizing everything, bringing it together so everyone get a piece of the pie. And that's why that system was working so much. They couldn't stand that. They say, "Oh, that's not good. They're too self-sufficient over there. Let's destroy them." So they start bombing the community. They bomb the buildings. Bomb the banks, the hospitals, everything. Kill a lot of Blacks, and it was just atrocious. And the government allowed that to happen. The government. I keep saying this. That some people don't understand that, but the government really, they're the one who started this redlining thing, right? After they destroyed Black Wall Street, like you just talked about, they said, okay, we'll make sure they never do this again. And that's how they did the redlining, where they draw a red line around certain communities, and they said, you will not be able to get bank loans, you will not be able to go to the schools, libraries, you won't get education a certain type of way. And that's just how they were trying to do that. But what they didn't understand is that ownership over dependency will outperform any community or any entity any day. Ownership over dependency. And what I mean by that is when you work certain jobs, you're depending on that salary, you're depending on whatever they give you, whatever time they give you to work. You're supposed to work 40 hours and they give you 20. Oh, that's all you'll get. Now you're dependent on them. You need that money. But you become an owner where you own your business, you own your own home, your own car, and you're thriving in community, then there's no need to be dependent on them anymore. So they were trying to force that type of level of dependency on us. And that's why they destroyed Black Wall Street. And that's why we're going to redevelop and we're going to expand in different areas. You know, we talk about those isolated areas. You know, we're not going to let those dominate our communities anymore. Innovation over pressure. Innovation over pressure. So the pressure they apply to us, they think will go away, but every time they try to destroy us, we pop up somewhere else and we're thriving. So that's where the innovation comes in. You try to restrict us, you put barriers in front of us, we figure out ways how to survive and make things. And think about it, man. Think about it. Think about it. The African culture, and I'm talking about business, history, family, and communities. That is 7.5 million years old. 7.5 million years old. The other cultures are like 45,000 years old in comparison to 7.5 million, right? So we've been innovating and doing all kinds of great and amazing things over those 7.5 million years. You want to tell me that because they come up with some concepts 45,000 years ago, then that's going to supersede the 7.5 million years of history, knowledge, wisdom, and resilience and abilities that we have? No, it's not going to happen. So innovation under pressure is what we do. We create innovation whenever there's pressure. Strategic community building. We build communities in a strategic kind of way so we can grow. And we don't just build communities so they'll last for 5 years. It goes way beyond that for generations, right? Wealth, we use wealth as a tool for impact. Wealth as a tool for impact. One of the things that we need to do right now to get our ecosystem wealth-wise more solid, and for us not only to do business among ourselves, but start providing funding to each other in our communities so that we can grow. Lines of credit, those types of things should be coming from ourselves. We shouldn't be going out there and, please, Mr. Bank of America, can you give me a loan? Can you give me a line of credit? I'll take whatever interest rate you give. 20 to 29%? Okay, I'll take it. That's all there. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. You know, we're down to 4 or 5%. That's where we're at right now. So I want all of you guys as entrepreneurs start thinking, how are we going to do this? And a big part of that is what we're doing in our mentorship program right now, guys, is to become business ready, contract ready, funding ready. Once you become ready, your paperwork is in order. You know what you need to run your business, your balance sheet, your P&L, tax returns, all of those things. You have them in place. You know your ratios. You understand your ratios, what the debt to equity ratio is, what your current ratio is, your quick ratio, your working capital ratio. Once you know those things, then you can manipulate things. You can make it work for you. And that's how you're going to use that wealth as a tool to create an impact. Leadership, grounded in purpose. If you're going to lead, you want to know why you're leading. Why are you leading? What's the result? What is it you expect to achieve from this leadership level? Are you leading just to lead? Or are you leading because you want to share wisdom and resources to a certain group so it can be passed down to generations? Those are questions you want to ask yourself, guys, because that's what this is all about. This is where we're at in terms of innovation, in terms of business, and in terms of legacy. That's where we're at right now. And with that being said, co-host, I'm going to hand this baby back over to you.
Okay, and that you're absolutely right, Gilbert. It's so important that we don't. And what I get, what I hear sometimes, and we become frightened, and we listen to all of the chatter on the outside telling us what we can't do, and those are programmed, that you're being programmed to tell you cannot do that, right? But when you go back and look at all of these amazing trailblazers that came before us, you can do anything you put your mind to it. And so you have to look at and embrace. Don't be afraid of what the future says for you. It and here's the other thing: whatever uh, the Anglo-American person is telling you you can't do, you know you can do it, because they're telling you that to prevent you from coming out and being the great person that you are. And we would not be a target if they already know that. We don't know that. So they would not mess with us at all if they didn't think you were a threat. But they already know you're a threat. They see it every day. They emulate us. The in the sports injury industry, they make goo gobs of money off of us. In the entertainment industry, they make goo gobs of money off of us. Don't let us be their entertainment. Don't let us be the source of their wealth. We need to bring that in house and not be afraid. And I always say, if you over here in your little house doing magical things, they will never know. You can't go out there and wear it on your sleeve. You don't need to do any of that. You need to do that while you're here. If you feel you want to then go and show off, go to Africa and show off. And then come back to America like the pauper, that like a pauper, so they'll think that you haven't done anything. But in the meantime, you're building what you need to build for your family and for your next generation. And we have to go out and embrace each other. So this last segment is about us, the modern Black entrepreneurship, the Renaissance, right? Us, we talk about creating Black Wall Street, but we don't make the moves to make that happen. And so we're in a new era. And right now, all the opportunities to create wealth for yourself and your family is unlimited, because now you can develop a digital business and you remove all gatekeepers. They don't even know what you're doing online, right? You just do you. They have no idea what you have. So digital businesses, e-commerce businesses, content, AI, all of those platforms give you the opportunity to make hand over fist money, because that's what everybody else is doing. So instead of being afraid of this new era that we're in, embrace this new era. This is the era like post slavery. This is that era where we could be our Black Wall Street. Nobody would even know we exist. Black Wall Street in our case would be online. And so with that, there are many of us that are in the tech industry. They want to tell you that we don't exist. They just don't hire us. But there are a lot of Black tech folks out there and they're creating platforms. We need to go over to those platforms and get on those platforms so we can help them grow. Don't complain that it doesn't look like Facebook. Facebook didn't look like Facebook when it started. Instagram didn't look like Instagram does today when it started. TikTok is probably the only one that came out looking like it is today. But look what happened. The very wealthy realize, hey, there are people over there making money. Let me snatch it. But again, they found a space to get in to kick them out. This person, Chinese. We can't have the Chinese all up in our business. Okay, so then they managed to take it from them. So create you a whole nother corporation that nobody needs to know who the heck is behind the corporation, because that is how they do it in their world. And you don't have to show a picture. You don't have to do anything until you hit that mark where you're too big for them to destroy you. So, but don't go running out there before you get there. But we as people have to support people that are building those platforms that are allowing you to monetize right now. And we got as much content as anybody else out there, probably more because of our struggles. And then uh, as a community, fund our business models. That's one of the things that I do. I teach children how to start their own business, and then I infuse my investments into them so that I can help them grow. Just like Gilbert was talking about earlier, in the African countries, in the islands, they do that susu thing, and he'll explain what that is. But it's to help us be able to build, and then that's our corporate cooperative economics, so important. So as we move forward into this era that we're in, don't fight it, embrace it, and figure out how you can make money at it. Now here's the thing: right now you're at the ground floor of AI. It's free right now. It is not going to always be free. Take advantage of the free, the $20. $20 is nothing. You spend that much going to Starbucks in 2 days. Spend that and learn. Take a class and learn how to use AI. I took a class and I learned different, like over 20, 30 different platforms, and now I can navigate in them. I use AI every single day. Put your is no more unsafe than you walking through the airport and somebody snatching your information because they can pull it out of your business card. I mean, pull it out of your wallet, just by using some sort of adapter or some sort of machine. So you're safe. You just have to put the safe. You have to use your safeguards on your computer, just like you put locks on your front door. Then you have to put locks on your computer, and you have to not be gullible. You have to be knowledgeable, because that's where we are right now. Is building what we have, teaching each one, like Gilbert is doing with his cohort, and I do with my accounting, teaching each one about how to be better entrepreneurs, how to be better business owners, how to scale our business. Yes, Pat, self-taught, being self-taught. A lot of the stuff outside of, and to be truthful, whatever you learned in college, if you are anywhere in my age group, it is obsolete right now. So everything I learned, I taught myself how to do it. And so if you, whatever you learned in 1970, 1980, 1990, 2000, obsolete, guys. If that's where you got your degree from, it's obsolete. You couldn't go get a job with that today. It's just mere paper. You could paper your walls with it. So the tools are new. The mission is the same. We have to embrace that, and we have to be willing to grow our businesses. And so Black History is not a month, it's our blueprint. And so we want to embrace that. And if our ancestors um, built businesses under chains and under tyranny and under some of the hardest hardships and torture to man, imagine what we can do with the knowledge, a strategy, and most importantly, unity with each other, and creating that cooperative environment for ourselves. And so, Gilbert, you can carry in and do the call to action. And I'm going to share some books at the end that you need to read if you have not read them. I think, to me, knowledge and education, and just knowing what other people have done, it is a great game changer for anyone. And so we really should be building ourselves up. If you have any doubts, and if you have any doubts today, man, all you got to do is turn on the news, and you turn on your YouTube channel, and all your doubts should go away. Because right about now, I see some people that are not very bright myself. So that's what I take away. But I know I'm very bright. So I'm going to use my ingenuity that God gave me, and I'm going to use it to continue to grow and expand. But I'm sharing as well. Back to you.
That was amazing, co-host. That's amazing. I'm moved by that. I am moved. So here's what we want you guys to do. And we're not forcing you to do anything. We're just trying to get you to recognize how we're going to get to the next level. Because just by sitting around waiting for somebody to give you some instructions, it's not going to work. Would like to recommend that each and every one of you start observing your environment, looking at what's going on. What is it you want to do? Where is it that you would like to be in the next 3 to 5 years? Where is it you want to be? Do you still want to be an employee doing 9 to 5? Or do you want to be an entrepreneur making millions of dollars via government contract? Do you want to do those things? And if so, then one of the first thing you want to do is to start thinking like an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is usually innovative. They're trying to do things, they're creating things. That's what innovation is. Innovation is creating something different. So you're taking something that's out there. You may take an existing technology and you tweak it to suit your needs, your community needs, your family needs, your customer needs. Okay, you tweak it to make that happen. That's what I did with Small Biz Pro. You know, that technology was out there somewhere doing whatever it did, but I took it and I make it specific to small and micro businesses because I know the pain that small and micro businesses had. Well, one of those pains is that they don't have good record keeping system. You know, when it comes to compliance, they're not paying attention to that. Their financials, they're not on top of that. Balance sheet, profit and loss statement of cash flow, tax returns, they're not on top of that. Their ratios, they don't know. So as a result, they don't know if they're going after a loan, whatever interest rate they tell them they're going to give them, they don't know if that's good interest rate or not. So we're trying to educate you guys. So look around, see what it is. What needs to be fixed? What can you tweak? Because you don't need to start anything from scratch. Just take an existing system and tweak it a little bit that can solve a problem or a pain point in the marketplace for a certain community. That certain community is going to now become your customer base. Okay? So you're going to tweak this. And remember, when you enter entrepreneurship, it's all about solving a pain in that marketplace that the customers, the people who are afflicted by that pain, will be happy to see a resolution to. So that's how you want to go about this. The call to action will be find out what that problem is, use existing technology, tweak it a little bit to solve that. And the reason you're tweaking it is so you can stand out above your competitors. Because many of your competitors, they may be more solvent than you, they may have more money, they may be stronger. But if you have the technology, your differentiator is going to be your ability to solve that pain for that new customer group better than the competition. That's going to be your tweak, your advantage, the value proposition that you bring. That's what that's going to be. So your call to action is to do those things. Look around the marketplace, research the marketplace, and see what is the size of the market. What is the size of the market? So let's say you're in the notary business. How big is the notary business? What's the annual revenue of the notary business? It is $1 billion. Is it hundreds of millions of dollars? Okay. And then when you find that out, who are the top players in the industry that's commanding most of that money? Who are the top players? And where are they located? And who are they serving? Now, there's one thing about business that entrepreneurs need to recognize and understand. Big companies, sometimes we cannot compete with them because their customers are customers that only want to buy from big companies. So you're not going to waste your time trying to sell your products and services to those customers. Yeah, they don't care about you. They're not going to buy from you. find the customers that will purchase from you. And those are the ones you market to. Those are the ones you target. So whatever tweak or solution that you're bringing, my co-hosts like to say rinse and repeat. So if you find out that there's a need for something that you can provide a solution to, then you develop that, you present it, and you rinse and repeat. That means you're going to do it over and over. You reset it, you restructure it, and you present it again and again until you help solving that problem so much that the problems start minimizing, start to dwindle. So now you got to come up with a little different approach to take an additional problem that might start up then. So those are the kind of things I'm talking about. So observe what's going on in the marketplace, see how you can add your innovation, your skill, your ability to solve that. Solve it better than your competitors, or if you can't solve it better than your competitors, solve it just as good. Okay? Because sometimes you may be just as good as another entrepreneur, but the way you present yourself to that customer is what will win them over and make them want to do business with you. For example, you present your value proposition and you know what the value proposition is supposed to satisfy. It's supposed to satisfy the pain in the marketplace. How is pain measured? Pain is measured in 3 ways: time, money, and resources. So if you can show your client how you can help them to save time, how you can help them to save money, and how you can provide some resources so they don't have to at a reasonable rate, and they'll be happy with the results, they'll be happy with the situation you present to them. That's a beautiful thing right there. So your call to action is going to look at those things. You want to galvanize your skills and abilities, all right? So you can team up with other resources to provide a comprehensive approach. And that could mean me, for example. I do back office, I do contract readiness, I do government contracts. But guess which part of that is missing? The accounting piece. That's where my co-host comes in. So I'm going to team up with her, and we're going to go after these customers and provide a comprehensive approach so we can solve their problem all the way around 360 degrees. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. So co-host, I don't know if you want to finalize or summarize that.
Yeah. So Gilbert's absolutely correct. Don't use your ingenuity. Dig back into your ancestry archives, and if you had one of those grandparents, great grandparents, that was a force to be reckoned with, then waken that up in yourself. Because I had a grandmother that was a force to be reckoned with. And when you guys see me in my I'm ready like to take down tall buildings, that's my grandmother. Because she had told me never to back down and always fight for what you believe is right and always fight for your people. So that's what I do. That's where I get it from. So all of us had a granny or grandfather or somebody that did that. So dig back into your archives. And that brings me to, before I share these, there's 3 books that I want you guys to go out and get if you have not read it already. But before I do that, so speaking of those individuals that have realized that they just cannot sit back and watch what is going on in America, they asked me to come and speak to their group. So this is a newly formed group that's called Neighborhood for Equality. And all of these individuals have been in business, and now they're all retired. And now what they're doing is they have grandkids, and with those grandkids, they are feeling that they have to do something. They just can't sit back. And one of them told me that I don't want my grandchild to turn around and look at me and say, "Granddad, what are you doing? What did you do to protect our future?" He says, "I could not live with myself and my grandchildren are young. And so I don't want them to get of age when they see this time and go, what did you do?" So they all got together this grouping of individuals. And so on Monday, King's birthday, they are going to have their first rally. It's going to be at Houston Park at La Brea in Stocker, and from 12 noon to 3 o'clock. And they are asking that we stand up, show up, and speak up, and with their signs. So I was so proud of them. At first, I was like, I had my workload was crazy, and I had to go out late at night. And in order to be there, it was pouring down, raining the night they asked me to come. But I thought, you know what? If they can ask me to do that, then I should be able to that's not a problem for me to do. And so I put on my raincoat and I came on out. And so this is the group. And I told them asking me if I will share. So these are all grandparents. These are all individuals that have grands and great grandchildren. And they feel they just can't sit back and watch on television. They have to come out. And so they made their signs, and they're going to be there marching for having a rally. So please join them at Houston Park, which is at La Brea and Stocker. Is the park that's up on the hill between Windsor Hills and Baldwin Hills. So right there, and you guys know how to get there. You can go up on the La Cienega side, or you can walk over from your home if you're in the hills up here in the Windsor Hills area, or if you're in Baldwin Hills, and go support them. Again, you don't want your grandchildren or your great grandkids saying, "Mom and Dad, or grandma, grandpa, and grandma, what'd you do to protect our future?" Because that's what we're doing right now, is protecting our future. So I hope you guys can make it. And that's Friday. That's Monday, which is President's Holiday. And currently, it's the situation is very tenuous right now. So be the one that is standing up for your grandkids, for the people in your community, for your nieces, your nephews, those people that look like you. We have to protect ourselves. So that's what I wanted to share. One of the things I wanted to share. The next thing is, before we close out today, wisdom is power, my friends. And so the one thing we want to do is acquire enough wisdom and more wisdom that will help inspire us to go out there and create our Black Wall Street. Let's not talk about it. Let's be about it. That's how I like to say. We got the things now. We just can't talk and think it's going to materialize because we wish it here. We have to actually want to make it happen. So there's a couple books out there that I have read that I thought, and some of them were those individuals that Gilbert were talking about within the insurance. A.G. Gaston, he was an amazing man. I was so impressed when I read his book. So he has a book out called The Black Titan. His niece actually wrote it, but it's all about his life, that after he was 1 year out of slavery, with overalls and shoes with holes in the soles. He actually went and started creating a business out of nothing, no investment, no lines of credit, no loans from the bank. He went and took his little change that he had, and he actually started one of those multi-million-dollar insurance companies, Gilbert. And he sold insurance. He first started selling plots, but he realized people had to have money in order to bury their loved ones, and so he coupled that with the insurance, and he became a millionaire about 4 or 5 years after he was emancipated from slavery. Um, so so don't say things can't be done, because our ancestors did things just absolutely incredible. And the other book is that I recommend that you get is called let me switch over, replace is called Black Fortune. This is of 6 African Americans who escaped slavery, and they too became multi-millionaires. So excellent books. Great to have on your shelves, but even better yet, better for you to read them and then share them with your children. And that's what we should be doing, reading about our history, reading about how those with far less than what we have, we are rich compared to what our ancestors had when they got started. We got computers, man. They didn't have computers. So this right here is $1 million right there that you can create another $1 million just off of that one, right? So you want to make sure that we are embracing the opportunities and what we have to work with, not looking at what we don't have, but looking at what we do have. And let's go out and do some greatness, guys. Black excellence is who we are. It flows through our bloodline and through our genes. And so nothing should be able to stop us. This right now, we are in a precipice of a country that's about to fall. And so now it's up to you. Are you going to fall? Or are you going to be the one to catch it and move it on to the next place? And this time, let's make sure we fight for our equality. We stand up for our equality. And the one way to do that, money is green. That's the only color it is green. And don't fall for nonsense. Just be focused and stay on the right path to creating greatness for your people. So with that, Gilbert.
There we go. I'm very happy to say I want to thank all of you for tuning in, whether you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or any other platform watching us today. We're on every Friday from 3 to 4:30. This is the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. And our job here is to provide you information, resource, and data that you can use in your business to become a better entrepreneur, to prepare your business so you can go after contracts, you can go after information and resources that can help you to be self-sufficient, help your family, and become a better entrepreneur so that your contribution to Black history will continue to be a part of business history. That's what we're doing here today. Co-host, you want to tell them how to subscribe? We can't hear you, co-host. There you go.
Sorry, guys. Go on over to our YouTube channel, hit our subscribe button, or hit the QR code, subscribe to our channel. By this weekend, there will be a number of shorts that you can use to share this platform. Tell your friends that this is the place to be every Friday afternoon, that there's so much incredible information. Also tell your friends the next cohort Gilbert does, you want to be there. It's important that you're there. So you want to take advantage of every opportunity that is being presented to you out there, because this is our time, guys. And so I really truly want you to embrace this time and find your place. All I can tell you is money gives you freedom. It gives you freedom, and gives you choice. And that is so important, to have choice and not just to sit there and wait for the disaster to happen to you. Make sure that you're protecting yourself from anything. We don't have to accept anything. So we want to thank you guys for joining us today. Come back next week. Next week and the week after, and have a happy Valentine's Day with the people that you love. Love is a very big part of all of this. So embrace those that are with you, because so many of our people did not make it through 25. Many people didn't make it through 25. So embrace, protect, and love, and let's be successful together, and let's work in unity. So with that, we're going to say good night, and we will see you all next week. Be safe out there. Enjoy your holiday off Monday, if that's what you got. I can't wait. And enjoy Valentine's Day. Bye-bye, everyone.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement